The Golden Knights will be on national television 15 times this upcoming season. With Mitch Marner, we thought that VGK might have more appearances, and the games that will be shown aren't all of the marquee variety. We'll talk about it next, right here on Locked On Golden Knights.
You're Locked On Golden Knights, your daily podcast on the Vegas Golden Knights, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hi again, everyone, from Las Vegas, Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick. We appreciate you making us your first listen every day. Find us wherever you get your podcasts, and please subscribe to our Locked On Golden Knights YouTube channel. Chris is the connoisseur of pumpkin spice, the owner of Silver State Cards and Sports, and the collectibles editor for the Hockey News. I am a longtime sportscaster, marketing consultant, and the host of the new Believe in Vegas podcast. Ahead on today's show, in addition to our number one topic, Jack Eichel eyeing gold. Obvious that Rasmus Anderson, whatever I call him, Rasmussen, lands in Vegas. It's pretty obvious from all reports. We are brought to you today by FanDuel. It's a big day. College football getting underway on a Thursday. 5 consecutive days of college football. Go to FanDuel.com.
'Tis the season.
I predicted, right, the number of national television appearances for VGK. I had 18 in a hook. I think you were spot on. Like you said, maybe 14 in a hook. And I think you got there in the end. And there were no odds on this on FanDuel, by the way. I felt as though VGK would have more national TV appeal, if you will, with the addition of Mitch Marner. And last year, for the record, 14 national games for the Vegas Golden Knights. And again, you know, you've got the free agent Jack Eichel, you have Mitch Marner. Why not more appearances?
I don't know. I mean, Vegas, number one, it's not a major TV market, although it seems to be expanding with the situation in Arizona and how VGK acquired that market. So maybe the TV market is improving. But at the end of the day, Vegas is, I don't know where they rank as far as major markets go. I doubt they're even in the top 10 or top 12. So that's part of it right there. It's not a knock on the Golden Knights by any means. That they're a new team in a small market. That's all they are. And one thing you mentioned, marquee variety. So here's the way I look at that. Number one, look at the Islanders game or the Devils game. You have two teams across the country playing each other, trying to tie together a couple markets and everything. And I think I look at the Golden Knights as possibly not anchoring by any means New Jersey and New York major markets, of course. But I think it's also a feather in the cap of the Vegas Golden Knights in the sense that there is more of a national interest. And it'll be fun to watch their story play out, so to speak, on national TV, kind of using the Cody Rhodes WWE reference. But it'll be fun to watch, you know, all the drama and everything. And there's so many ways that this upcoming season could go and may go and will go. And more national exposure, the better for many reasons.
So the games, pretty much with the exception of like Toronto and the Edmonton games, there's a couple of those. Toronto in Las Vegas, January 15th. Most are not the marquee contest. 6 games against teams that did not make the playoffs this past season. We do have a couple of games against LA, and as I mentioned, a couple against Edmonton. So those are going to be a couple of fun games, including the starter against the Kings on opening night.
I mean, listen, San Jose, it's going to be a much better story.
That's a marquee game.
It is. I mean, you look at the rookies that they have. You look at hopefully a resurgence of a rivalry. It hasn't been a rivalry for 5 years, Sharks fans, as much as you want it to be. But hope that angst and anger, you know, comes back between the two teams. Scrolling down, Islanders, New Jersey, we talked about those 2 games. Anaheim, I think, is going to be a lot more exciting for many reasons. We've talked about that a number of times on the podcast. Kings are the Kings. That's always fun. Pittsburgh, maybe here's the angle for the Pittsburgh game. Maybe that's Evgeny Malkin's first game back in Pittsburgh after he gets traded to the Golden Knights. So that's
what is it? What's the date of that game?
March 1st.
Oh, he'll definitely be. He'll be a
Golden
right there.
Knight. Yeah, it's right there. Edmonton, obviously, and Utah, again, they were a fringe playoff contender. Another team that's, I mean, slated to take a major step forward this year. So I think it's a solid TV schedule, and I think it's going to be fun.
So that second game against Toronto, in Toronto, according to the Maple Leafs, they have that on ESPN Plus, which always blacks me out anyway. But I'm curious about that contest, if that's going to be aired nationally, but that was not in that list, right? And then when you take a look at some of the teams that are not on national TV, at least here in the U.S., the Canadian teams, Ottawa, Winnipeg, these are teams, some of these, what about Montreal? I'd love to see VGK versus Montreal, Vancouver, Calgary. So does Sportsnet have all the rights to those games? Is that what's happening here? But they're not
Well,
on.
Edmonton, I mean, Golden Knights Edmonton twice
Right.
are on this.
Yeah.
I don't
for the
know
most
how
part.
all the ins and outs of that work,
I
but
want
it
to
would
see
be fun.
Montreal. I want to see the
No,
Habs.
Montreal, again, another team. I'm telling you, that's a team that I think is going to flirt with dynasty status the way they're building things right now. And maybe they're 2 years away from that, 3 years away from that. I think they do find a way into the playoffs this year. And before 2030 is up, I think before the year 2030 approaches us, I think the Canadians wind up being the first team to hoist the Stanley Cup since, I believe, 93 when the Canadians did it. So I think that's how good my outlook is on the Canadians. I don't know if you can do a futures bet 3 or 4 years from now, but that'd be a fun bet to make and just forget that you made that bet. So, yeah.
For the Golden Knights, 1 ABC televised game, 4 on ESPN, 4 on ESPN Plus, and then 6 on TNT. I found it interesting, Chris, that Washington has the most nationally televised games with 18, followed by Colorado and Boston with 17 apiece.
Logan Thompson, you got some good TV appeal, right?
That's it. That's it. You know,
what were the numbers for the most teams? You said 17 and 18?
18 for Washington and then 17 for Colorado and for Boston. But you know
Were
how
those the
great
most teams, or
yeah, the most.
Okay,
The
yeah.
most.
So I mean, it's a nice balance then, right? I mean, the Golden Knights are 3 behind, the teams with the most national TV. You said Boston, though. I mean, Boston, the market is driving that more than anything because that's a team that's
Major market, yeah.
Yeah, they're in full on rebuild, rebrand, reload status out there in Boston. And Washington was a great story last year. We talked about Logan, of course, more importantly, what Alex Ovechkin accomplished and what does he have left in the tank as a follow-up to that. It would not surprise me if Ovi was healthy and didn't get a stupid injury or something like what happened last year with his foot. It wouldn't surprise me if he scores like 50 goals this year. That's how crazy Ovechkin is, how good he is still.
The number does go over. I think I'm going to win because of the playoff games. They'll be on national TV, you know? We counting those?
It doesn't count.
Okay. What was your number, by the way?
I think it was right around 14 or 15, honestly.
I
thought
no, we never
I
do.
only moved
We
it up
never
1
do
or 2
exact
games
numbers.
from last year.
There was a hook, bro.
There's always a hook. I'm sure it was right there, though.
Yeah, I think you were right there.
I had good two-way. I had good two-way fictitious betting because my line was so good.
Okay, I still would like to see VGK. I still would like to see them against Boston. Again, you still have Cassidy versus his former team, right? And it is spicy sometimes. I would like to see Florida Panthers. How do the Florida Panthers not have the most games on national TV? VGK against Florida would be exceptional. Again, those
Florida's
Oilers
not a
games
great market,
good.
Tony. Despite the team's success, despite how well they've been for the last 3 years,
San
it's not a
Jose
great
is a
market.
much bigger market, I would think. VGK against Nashville. Wouldn't you like to see that? Wouldn't that be a really good matchup to watch?
It would be fun. And it's like we can't watch these. It's just it doesn't have
former
as much.
Golden Knight.
Right, but is there as much national appeal? I mean, it's not the type of thing where a lot of people will just happen to look who don't necessarily follow the Golden Knights as much as people in Vegas do, or people that follow Nashville. You got to be maybe a little more hardcore of a fan to understand that angle. And I'm sure there's a lot of situations where player XYZ is going back to his hometown, and I wouldn't be able to find that on the schedule of most teams. So, March or so, that situation, it's gotten a lot quieter too. I mean, it's quieted down a lot. So I think the BGK side is over it. I think March or so finally let it go, although he probably hasn't. So yeah,
it probably has not. Coming up next, Jack Eichel eyeing gold. We'll take a look at some of what he said there at that orientation camp. We'll get to that as we return right here on Locked On Golden Knights. The NFL season is almost here, and FanDuel is making sure that you are ready for kickoff with a can't miss offer. That's right. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300. Now, $300 in bonus bets you can use across the application. We definitely like to use FanDuel because it fits however you like it, and especially Chris and I are definitely we're hooked on all the prop bets, mostly too. And so that's the place to find them right there at FanDuel. And it's quick, it's easy, and it's the best way to add a little bit more energy on a Sunday. So, are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app today, and you can visit fanduel.com to get started. Again, that's fanduel.com, your place. If your first $5 bet wins, you'll win $300 in bonus bets. Welcome back on this edition of Locked On Golden Knights from Las Vegas. Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick reporting. I'm so ready for football. I am. A little change in the air. I walked outside this morning to try to find my Amazon package. Oh, it was delivered at 4:02. Walking around the neighborhood, but it was like a glorious 75 degrees.
Weather's been great. It's really outside of a couple of pockets. It's been a great summer in Vegas.
It's been mild, right? It's been a mild summer. We haven't
Good
had
rain
those
a couple days ago. I mean, it dumped on us in Henderson.
Yeah, okay. I didn't get that, but
when
it does rain, 15 minutes here, we get flooded out.
So. Oh yeah, our cats run floaties.
Don't forget Fridays. Speaking of floaties, I don't know where we're going with this. It's WTF Day. What the floaty? And make sure that you subscribe to our Locked On Golden Knights YouTube channel. So Jack Eichel on the Olympics, the U.S. expects to win. So Eichel was back in Plymouth. I want to say Massachusetts. It's Michigan, Plymouth, Michigan. If anyone's watching from there, please ping us here and let us know exactly what's up there. But Eichel saying the expectations for the U.S. Olympic hockey team are sky high. Again, he wants to win the gold. And he said he thinks that anything short of that, it would be disappointing. But keep in mind, folks, the USA, it's hard to believe, has not won a gold medal in hockey since 1980, the Miracle on Ice team. So perhaps they break through, but there are a lot of high expectations with U.S. hockey.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the roster of Team USA and Team Canada, they're both saying the exact same thing. Anything less than gold with what we have here is going to be a disappointment. And I don't know how you can necessarily say it's a disappointment to lose to the likes of McDavid, McKinnon, Crosby, and so on and so forth. But I get the statement. I understand where Jack is going with it. And same breath, the Team USA is going to be a pretty solid team as well. Team USA's advantage obviously is going to, potentially be in goal, and we'll see how that whole thing shakes out and everything. But I understand what Jack is saying, but I don't know if it's necessarily, now I think a true disappointment is if they don't make the gold medal game. That would be the true disappointment, number one. I have no idea if them and USA or them and Team Canada can possibly knock each other out before the championship game. I have no idea how the pools work, and we're probably months away from even worrying about any of that. But assuming there's a path to USA versus Canada in the championship game, if one of those two teams is not in the championship game, that's the disappointment. Losing to either roster, that's a type of game where let's just assume it's USA versus Canada in the championship gold medal game. You could play that game 100 times. Your variance is probably 53 to 47 for one of the sides. That's how good both rosters are.
I mean, let's face it. The U.S. should get out of the pool. They play my boys, the Fighting Chooches of Italy. I threw that in there.
Fighting Chooches, that we just said?
Yeah. That's for our boy.
There you go, Irans.
Yeah, Irans rather. And then, of course, who else is in there? Trinidad and Tobago. They play hockey. I don't know.
I don't have
Jamaican bobsled team. Are they in that pool? So Mike Sullivan said, this is a very confident group. The U.S. head coach says the stakes are extremely high. They've never been higher. So they're putting a ton of pressure on Team USA.
I mean, they're reading from the PR script here. It
I thought
sounds
you were
like,
going to say tea leaves. I was going to lose.
no, it's the PR script right there, and I get it. I mean, listen, there's a lot of pressure right now. This is the first Olympic competition in quite some time, and the first time that many people will get a chance, and possibly first and last for some players. You just never know how that's going to all shake out and everything. Be a lot of fun. Obviously, we're on the heels of the Four Nations exhibition tournament, and you saw how aggressive that got. You saw how good the hockey was. Theoretically, this should be 2 or 3 levels beyond that with Olympic gold on the line. So if it's, I mean, listen, if it's equal to or better than the drama, and I know the fighting, but you can't do that in Olympics, but the drama that the Four Nations brought, if this is if you the Olympics are equal to or greater, it's going to be some of the best hockey we're going to get to see in quite some time. And I'm all for the Olympics. It's going to be great. And then of course we've talked about afterwards. I mean, is too much stock, and again, it's the Olympics, so it deserves a lot of stock, but is too much stock being put into that where
Yes,
there's going to be a letdown factor after
no doubt.
it's all over, and how much
And
is going to be left in
injuries.
the tank, and injuries, and that's another segment. But yeah.
Yeah. And, this is a big, big series of games for Jack Eichel heading into free agency. There'll be a free agent by then.
Is this the new line? Will Eichel have his extension by the
By
Olympics now? Is
the
that the new
Olympics.
line? No, the new line is regular season game 1, and then the next line after that is the Olympic break.
Jack is definitely moving up to superstar status, though. Have you noticed good PR, like from his team and what have you? Like they had a ton of pictures on photo day, but mostly of Jack. A lot of Eichel photos floating around there. That was
Wasn't Eichel featured
pretty
on one of like the national things for when the TV national TV schedule was announced? I think Eichel was one of the 4 or 6 players or something on there. So
crazy.
he is a superstar. He's grown into superstar status. He's elite. He's a lot of things that he was not in Buffalo, and the growth of Jack is amazing. And transitioning to the contract talks, is he looking to cash in off of that? And that the answer might be yes. And this is where the subplot is going to start playing out, and all these national TV games between now and at least the first of the year, it'll be brought up on every single one about there not being a contract in place yet for Jack.
Oh man, yeah. There's a lot of storylines heading into this season. Oh, by the way, John Tortorella, since he's not behind the bench, is the scout. He's the scout for Team USA. So he's going to be, obviously, when they just want to skate around Aiden Hill and have him do a tryout in the game, maybe one of those national TV games, we're going to see Tortorella. He'll be in Vegas probably a bunch scouting. How great is that? That's going to be so fun.
Sounds like a no-show job to me.
What a great job he has. Drink beer, yell at people, and then, of course, scout the team. And then Bill Guerin also was in the mix amongst the folks that were quoted there at the orientation. He finally comes out and says the loss against Canada and Four Nations was very emotional, very hard. And, of course, Guerin, the general manager of Team USA. But there is just so much chatter, I think, for this early. I know they're trying to build it up. You want the TV ratings. It is exciting, right? Going back to the Olympics for the NHL players. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, but these expectations, though, and they're starting now in August. So imagine how much this buildup is going to be going into the games themselves.
The pressure is something that every one of these players wants. It's why you're a professional athlete. It's to play in championship games. It's to play on the biggest of stages. And it doesn't matter if we're talking NHL and Olympics or if we're talking, a recreational league or youth league and anything in between. You want the biggest stage. You want to know that there's a sold out venue. You want to know that there's, in the case of the Olympics, millions of people watching across the globe. And that's a moment maker for these players, and it'll be fun to watch. Again, the superstars are going to do what they do, but then like a player like Jake Sanderson, I believe on the Team Canada side, was Jake Sanderson? I believe he was Canada. You watch how he kind of came, wasn't really much of a known and did really well and stuff. So that's the other side of this, kind of the unknown, and the biggest stage brings out some of the most interesting moments in sports.
Coming up next, it's obvious that Rasmus Anderson could land in Las Vegas. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, Ron Burgundy, obvious.
Coming up next on Lockdown Golden Knights. Most people cannot name all of their financial accounts or even what they are worth, whether it's your 401k, your properties, or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. And that's why there is Monarch Money. And it's an all in one personal finance tool. And it brings out all of the entire financial packages together, all in one application. And Monarch does all the heavy lifting for you. You can link all of your accounts in just minutes, and you could see the clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. Thank goodness. Monarch makes it simple to review all of your finances with your partner, and you can both see the budgets, the goals, and the spending activity all in one place. Don't let financial opportunity slip through the cracks. Use that promo code LOCKEDONNHL at monarchmoney.com and put it in your browser, and you'll receive half off of your first year. That's 50% off your first year. And again, it is at monarchmoney.com. Use the promo code LOCKEDONNHL, and you shall receive 50% off of your first year. Welcome back on this edition of Lockdown Golden Knights from Las Vegas. Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick reporting. It's another big moment on Locked On. You know, college football fans, Locked On and Fire TV present College Football Kickoff, your ultimate college football weekly preview. And, of course, you've got Drake Toll of Locked On Big 12 leading the conversation alongside of AP Coach of the Year. Gary Patterson is on the show. Former college star Jesse Holley is there, and it's on Locked On's local expert, and you can check it all out, college football. A college football preview on Locked On, and catch College Football Kickoff every Thursday throughout the season, and it's only on Fire TV. Thanks for joining us today, everyone. We appreciate you tuning in. We're going to have some big news in the next couple of weeks, so make sure that you lock it in on Lockdown Golden Knights, right? Big news. Big news? Yeah, maybe. Little teaser. Rasmus Anderson, a target for VGK since back
That's the big
in the
news,
day.
Anderson, right? Oh, never mind. Okay.
Could be big news. Next couple of weeks, yeah, for sure, if this holds true. You know, since we heard those rumors early on, the Calgary Flames, we heard, were looking to shed some salary, and it's heading into contract year for Anderson. Flames captain Michael Backlund says there is no doubt Anderson is on the move. Backlund saying that, yeah, he's getting traded. It's obvious. Backlund believes a deal for Anderson will be made before the start of the season. What are your thoughts, Captain Obvious?
I mean, it's every tea leaf coming out of Calgary. Tony says Anderson is on his way out, and most of those.
I've heard about all the tea in China, but not all the tea in Calgary.
Most of those tea leaves point to Vegas. It's while it's obvious that something is very likely to happen. I don't know if it's sooner than later, but something is definitely likely to happen between now and I would say the trade deadline. Probably sooner than that. With Anderson, it's not as obvious Vegas is the answer, but it's still probably the chalk if there was any odds out there for Rasmus Anderson. You look at the situations, Anderson's in the final of a $4.5 million AAV deal. Easy for the Golden Knights to find room to make that work out. The Golden Knights right now, once Pietrangelo officially is moved to LTIR on the like on Puckpedia and everything, they'll leave the Golden Knights about $1.2 million to work with, give or take. $4.5 million, so $3.3 million or so would need to be cleared. Injuries can take care of that. The Flames might be willing to eat half that salary for the rest of the year for a little sweetener as well. So piece of cake to make this work out. Now, long term, you're not trading for Rasmus Anderson and not looking at that 7 or 8 year extension. By the way, it's now almost 2 months for Jack Eichel not to have his extension yet. So how do you possibly work this sign and trade or this trade and extend deal for Rasmus Anderson? And I mean, if Eichel doesn't have his extension yet, this is, it's again, we're not there yet. there's parallels to the Marchessault situation in the early stages, and they keep bringing on these new players like Mitch Marner, and they're getting these contracts right away. You got to wonder what Jack's mindset is. You have to wonder where his mind is in all this.
Okay, so back to Anderson. As you mentioned, UFA after this season. Backlund said it's too bad it's come to this, said Anderson's camp and the Flames are not even close. It's got to happen before the start of the season. It has to.
I want Backlund in Vegas. He's great. He's a great interview. It sounds like tell you everything.
He went to Milan to go
spilling
promote
the tea leaves. Spilling the tea leaves, Tony.
Man, you are on fire. Vegas makes sense. Why? Because he could bring Noah Hannafin back to life. Those two played together in Calgary.
It makes a lot of sense, and the Golden Knights do have a gaping hole in the D without Alex Pietrangelo, a healthy Alex Pietrangelo. Is Rasmus Anderson Alex Pietrangelo? No, but he's a lot closer to Alex Pietrangelo than he is Zach Whitecloud. And again, Whitecloud, you hope he's going to take a major step forward. This is the biggest year of Whitecloud's career coming up, assuming the Golden Knights do not add a top 2, top 4 D-man. Whitecloud is the one slated to benefit the most right now, possibly goes up to that top pairing. So, and again, Whitecloud is who he is, but Anderson is who he is, and he's a lot more responsible than Whitecloud. So if the Golden Knights are looking to possibly win their second Stanley Cup in 9 seasons of existence, still amazing to say that, it feels like a move does need to be made on the defensive side to balance things out a little bit.
Yeah, everyone's saying that Vegas makes sense, and that is, again, where Rasmus Anderson wants to land.
Vegas makes sense for any high-level player, though, Tony. I mean, there's a line at the club now. It's for players to get into Vegas. It's a line.
Yeah, you have to, pay some people to get inside the red ropes, though.
Or the back kitchens, like and all the back of houseways.
Yeah, I do that. Frank Saravelli, on the other hand, thinks that Anderson will be in a Flame sweater to start this season. So the
Probably.
Good doctor, it's interesting. I mean, it's something to talk about. And
it's a tough situation. He's been there since 2017, came up with the Stockton Heat. So he's Calgary born and raised, so to speak. So it's not an easy situation. But
no, it's easy. He'll talk to Marner. He'll talk to Marner. He'll talk to Reed.
Talk to Marner. He'll talk to Hannafin, and it all makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. 3 times 30 assists for Rasmus Anderson. So he definitely would help out here.
46 and 21-22.
We appreciate everyone tuning in, especially our everydayers tuning in around the globe. Don't forget, tomorrow already is WTF Day. That's What the Friday for all of the casuals out there. And please make sure to subscribe to our Locked On Golden Knights YouTube channel. For my man, Chris Golick, I am Tony Cardasco from Las Vegas. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow right here on Locked On Golden Knights. Please take care.